Welcome back in, y'all. This is the Bluechip Breakdown, and I am your host, Bull. P won't be joining us today, but man, we got some notes from the first fall, scrimmage of 2025. And I mean, there's some things that maybe I'm kind of worried about. Obviously, it's very, very early on. Of course, we're going to be getting into it. And y'all, please do us a very, very big favor. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. That helps us out in a major, major way. But these are the players that didn't get to go in our scrimmage today. And actually, let me go back, man, because my dog Matt SS, he hooked us up. So let me go ahead and play this super chat for him. All right, hey Matt, thank you to everyone that is joining us. Y'all can chime into the chat, and we will be getting to those questions. But so these are the players, like I was saying, that didn't get to practice. I think that it might be more than this. The sites, they're not always the absolute best at updating us on the players that don't get to go. But I mean, we're missing several of our like starting caliber wide receivers. So some of the notes about the quarterbacks, how much is that impacting them? You know what I'm saying? Like, how much is that a factor with these, some of these guys not being out there? We'll talk about that as we get deeper into it. But I feel like we'll probably have, I mean, most of this list, most of these players will probably be ready by week 1 versus Syracuse. That's the biggest thing. This is not a reason for us to panic. And I think I have to say this almost all the time. Just, because people look at the injuries and they say, man, Tennessee's in a terrible spot. Jordan Thomas, he's out for the season. It's the same injury that he had last year. He's still trying to get back healthy. This feels like he's going to sit this year out, come back maybe 2026. Hopefully, I think that'd be good for us. But yeah, I mean, hopefully, everyone's going to end up being back. Most of these guys anyway by week 1. More about, can we have most of, if not all of these players ready by that 3rd week versus UGA? That's what I'm looking at. So with all that being said, let's go on ahead and get into some of my notes. What I took away, of course, Coach Heupel, he spoke after this scrimmage. And, I went around on various sites to see what everyone's talking about with this thing. Let me also say this, y'all. I didn't see this personally, okay? I have not seen any practice clips. For some reason, people think that we have access to practice. We don't have access. We have kind of like the same access that y'all have. We will get some like inside notes from other sources and things like that sometimes, but we only talk about that on our patreon.com/Bluechip Breakdown. But it sounds like Coach Heupel, first off, I think that his mood was really positive. That's always something for you to watch. How much of that was kind of like, I'm not quite sure how this team really looks, so let me act positive. I don't know. I mean, that's probably looking too deep into the situation. But I mean, he seemed like he was just like genuinely pleased. And he said that, we were playing hard. That's something that he liked. He said that, people out there hitting, thumping. And that's kind of like the base. I would say that at this point in fall camp, that's what you're looking for. What's the effort level like? Do people know what they're doing? Are there any loafs? Are there people like missing some of the things that they're supposed to be doing? Like it's more of that type of stuff. So, and then also obviously, man, do we have really good athletes? I think that might be what Coach Heupel was looking at. This roster is very, very talented, very young, but it is very talented, even with several players out. So that's something else that I'll just say personally. I'm happy that several players got to get extra burn early on in fall camp. More players are getting more reps. We're talking about young guys. We're talking about new guys. We're talking about walk-on players. Who can really help this team out? Are we building up proper depth? That's where I think Tennessee's at. So, those are some of the just, like very early positive takeaways. And just as far as what was going on out there on the field, number one, let's start with the quarterbacks, okay? Because I know everyone wants to talk about this quarterback situation. And y'all have probably seen most of the same stuff that, we've seen on this channel. But it sounds like the quarterbacks did struggle, all right? Sounds like Mark was like the first string guy, so he got most of the first string reps. That's what we've heard, I feel like, over the course of fall camp. Him and Joey kind of like splitting time there. But with Mark being that guy, how did he look? Sounds like he honestly might have looked the worst out of all 3 quarterbacks. And, Joey Aguilar, he did throw a pick 6 to, I guess he was kind of like a walk-on cornerback. Chris Brazel's younger brother. I don't know how much he's going to help Tennessee out this year. Again, I don't really get to see practice, y'all, so I don't know. I'm just, speculating. But for him to throw a pick 6 to a kind of like a walk-on guy, the whole, hey, this is 2nd string reps, this is 3rd string reps, I don't think that too much matters because they're kind of all going, up against the same people, especially in the secondary. Might make a little bit of a difference with the front, with the offensive line that's blocking for the players. But for me, that might say more about what GMAC is having out there as far as his tools, his weapons. Won't be as good as Merck or as Joey. But it sounds like GMAC had a hell of a day. So, I mean, listen, I've been hearing this, I feel like every single day he has a really good day. He's been working a lot with that, like third string. Sound like he got second string and third string reps. I have to say this fresh out the gate, okay? Like, let me make sure that I say it one more time, y'all. It's very early on. The defense sounds like they did win this scrimmage. They should win, okay? Early on, defense always should be better than the offense. It takes offense more time. There's more things going on. There's way more moving pieces. Also, the offense is more banged up than our defense is. If the defense hadn't have won this scrimmage, we would have a much bigger problem. So our defense is going to be good. I'm calling it right now, top 5 in the whole country. Could be even better. For me, top 5 is probably the floor. I think that we've got a really, really, really good defense, especially with our front. But with all those things being said, does kind of feel like there might be a little bit of some issues, right? Like, again, very, very early on, we don't get to see this stuff, but I do think that GMAC needs to get more first team reps and second team reps just to see, hey, how does this thing actually look whenever he's getting more tools, whenever he has more tools that he can work with. And this is a really sticky situation, I think, for Coach Heupel, because he's got obviously Joey Aguilar. Some people are saying, well, he could come back next year. I don't see any realistic world where he would want to come back. Like, that's not a positive. If he comes back next year, then we've got really big problems. Okay, he should either have a really good year and go on and go on to the NFL, go on and get drafted, so on and so forth, or he's maybe not the guy. Whoever is the guy this year could be the guy for us next year, and there's no need for Joey Aguilar to come back. So that part of it, not too much worried. But if Mark is not the guy, which sounds like he didn't have the best showing, sounds like he might have had the worst showing, relatively speaking. What does that mean? Was it horrible? I don't know, but sounds like if he's having the worst showing. I don't think that he's maybe been great over the course of fall camp from what we've read and from what we've heard. If GMAC ends up being that guy, like, let's just say, and I talked about it. I said, man, look, he's got the highest ceiling. I think that if GMAC was maybe 20 pounds heavier, this wouldn't even be a quarterback competition. GMAC is probably going to be that guy because he looked great in spring practice. He looked great in the orange and white game. Yeah, I get it. That's in a scrimmage, whatever. Doesn't too much matter to me. You could tell whenever somebody is a baller, GMAC is that dude. So if he starts for us this year, right? I said, hey, gain 20 pounds, he would be that guy. I'm at the point now where I say, listen, give him some realistic looks. If he gains, 5 to 7 pounds, I mean, you got to give him you got to think about it strongly if he is that dude. If things continue the way that they've started off throughout fall camp. But what does that do with Faison Brandon? How is he going to feel? Because GMAC is only 1 year older than him. How is that going to impact Tristan Keys? How is it going to impact some of the other players in this class? And that's more of why I've said this whole time that it's a long shot for GMAC to get the start this year, because I don't know how much Coach Heupel is looking at it and saying, well, we want to try to win right now. We'll worry about later. We'll figure all that out. That's the way that I would do it. I can't speak for how Coach Heupel's thinking, how the staff is thinking. But if you let GMAC start, it could have some implications long term. But he might also, just based off of what I've seen and from what I've heard up to this point, he might give us the best chance to win. Again, understanding, man, fall camp, very, very long time left. A lot of things can happen. The offense should take a really big step forward, especially with our passing game. All of these quarterbacks, but if it all stays relative and if GMAC stays on top, how serious of a conversation is that going to be once we get towards the end of fall camp? So with all those things being said, let me go ahead and chime in to this chat. I know that I kept y'all waiting for a long time, and we'll get to this one right here first. Saying that I missed the scrimmage. I'm up here at work, but how are we looking? Yeah, so I mean, it sounds like the defense looks really good. Sounds like the offense in certain areas looked good. Running game looked good. The starting offensive line, they all looked good. But the quarterbacks didn't look great. Sounds like the wide receivers maybe made some plays, could have made more plays, and we'll talk more about everybody else here in just a minute. From Matt saying, hey, what's going on, bro? That's a heck of an injury report. The sky's falling. Yeah, I know. Everyone always says that. And that Hypo has a good poker face. Yep, I think that's a good point. For my dog, MG Ways. Going on, bro? GBO. Jordan Thomas injury must be serious. Yeah, so he's got a knee deal. It's more serious for others than, it is for some people. I mean, I can't really call it. I know that some folks have chimed in and said, well, ACLs. Some people might have personally had one, and they're like, man, I was out for, like 1 year, 2 years. Everybody's different. And also, with the sports medicine stuff, it's gotten so much better here, recently that yeah, players can come back quicker. So some guys just they have to sit out longer and others don't. I don't quite know why. Jesus loves you. Hey man, Jesus loves you too. Always love seeing that. All right, so what's going on, bro? Saying that I was over on Patreon waiting. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, man. So with the on our Patreon, I think that y'all should be able to watch it straight from Patreon. We just put that link in there, so you should be able to watch it. Sorry that things took a little bit longer to get started. Um, and I think that Hypo has a passion for coaching the guys up. I do too, man. You could tell that this whole staff, we have guys that really truly love coaching and they love teaching. So I feel fine about what we're going to be doing moving forward. I'm gonna get to a couple more chats and then we're going to jump back into this. So this one is from Sheila saying that I feel like we don't know if a pick is thrown, blame the quarterback or a wide receiver or the player throwing to. Okay, so let me try to shed a little bit of light on this. So we know that Joey threw it to a cornerback and it was a pick six. That typically means that was a deep out. Okay. That's typically what that means. It could have been, like you said, could have been on the wide receiver. That would just mean that the wide receiver maybe didn't come back to the ball right. But 9 times out of 10, whenever you're throwing that deep out pass, there's a certain spot that you got to throw it. It can't be to the inside. It's got to be to the outside. Like that's where the error is. Like you would error more to the outside than ever to the inside. I'm just going to tell y'all, and again, it's very, very early. That is a big red flag for me as someone that's watched every single one of Joey Aguilar's dropbacks and passes from 2024, most of them from 2023. That out pass, he can throw it, but he is so inconsistent with his fundamentals, with his footwork. He makes some dumb passes sometimes too. He has a tendency to do that. It's very hard to get players out of that, especially in this limited time. I'm not saying that he's gonna be, a pick. He's gonna throw a whole bunch of interceptions. I'm not saying that necessarily, but it does worry me just given his history as an older guy. If he was younger and more fresh and more like a blank canvas, then it's easier to get him out of some of those bad habits. But the longer that you have bad habits and it goes unchecked, the harder that it is to get that fixed. So I do have some question marks. How much better can he get from now, over the next couple of weeks? That's going to really tell a whole lot for me. I did say coming into this that I felt like Joey Aguilar was the guy, and I thought that coming into fall camp. Hey, he's the dude. I'm not sure. Okay, throwing an interception on deep outs, that is not a good look, especially, and I'm not taking a shot at Brazel, but especially to a walk-on guy. Okay, who I don't know how much he's going to be able to play for us this year. That means that probably was a really, really bad pass. So Coach Heupel didn't seem worried about it, but we also know that the social media team is, trying to blur out people. So I think that they understand that this fan base will take things and will go crazy. It's been a lot of things that's happened since Nico left us, right? Been a whole lot of different things. So there's just boom, 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 boom. You try to, you want to maybe try to tone some things down. I'm not saying that is the case, but it very well could be. So just wanted to make sure that I did say that. Now, let me go ahead and get back into my notes, y'all. And let's see who else played well. So, like I said, it sounds like the wide receivers played pretty well, that there were some plays out there for them to still make. I love what I've been hearing about Travis Smith and Ra Jackson, Dotson, you know what I'm saying? Like those freshmen doing a really nice job. Didn't hear a ton about them in this scrimmage, but I feel confident. What walk-on players are going to step up for us, and then when are the other guys that are more like veterans going to come back? Sounds like Mike Matthews had a good day too. I'm not too much worried about Mike. Hopefully, with some of the other players that, like we just touched on, are banged up, hopefully they can come back. Sounds like Brazel, Chris, sounds like he's going to be back at some point next week. They said that last week. All right. So he's coming off of a surgery. You don't want to rush him back. There's no need to rush him back. But he does need to get some valuable reps. Okay. Like that is for sure. Obviously, with Braylon Staley, hope that he's back as well. So, yeah, wide receivers, there just wasn't a whole lot of notes there. I think that maybe, and I'm not taking a shot, but I think that the media could maybe do a little bit better job of asking some like real questions. You know what I'm saying? Like you should have a list of, different players or something where you can say, hey, how did this guy do? Because I don't feel like they asked that many questions. That was a pretty short press conference. I'm sure that they say, hey, man, we're only going to go for maybe like 10 minutes. But we got to, let's try to ask more questions because I think we could have got a lot more info out of that press conference. But with all that being said, it did sound like Brame, he played well. Jack, he didn't get to go. And also Miles didn't get to go. I think that Cole Harrison, he probably got to go, but he's so fresh right now. So yeah, Brame probably had a whole lot of opportunities, but it does sound like he's going to be a guy for us moving forward. Star Thomas, it sounds like he had a just incredible day. Coach Heupel, if there was anyone like really maybe not really bright spot, but that was probably the highlight. Just looking at Coach Heupel's face and the way that he was talking, Star Thomas sounds like he's a dude physically doing a really good job. Sounds like he's quicker, faster, bigger, stronger, running the football, but also maybe blocking, being physical there too. We need a running back, several running backs, all of our running backs to be able to step up and pick up blocks in pass pro, because sometimes they will be asked to stay in and block. I wonder how he caught the football. I'm not quite sure if Coach Heupel mentioned that. If he did, then that's something that I missed. But I think that that's a very positive thing. Again, running backs, sounds like they had a pretty good day. Offensive line did a good job, especially with that first unit blocking. It doesn't sound like there were some big gashing runs, but it does sound like the offensive line looks good with the run blocking. And we'll talk more about the defense as we keep on going through. So Boo, actually now we're starting with defense. So Boo, he did get to play, but only on special teams from my understanding. Okay, I might have misread that, misheard that, but it sounds like it was only on special teams. Didn't get to go with the defense. So we talked about this too. If there is any real punishment for Boo Carter, it's missing things like this. The scrimmages, that's how you punish somebody. It's not, hey, they're gonna miss practice. That's not a real punishment. You know what I mean? Like missing out on whenever you really get to play. That's what these guys live for. These guys, they want to get out there and they want to play in all these like real life situations. But I think that Boo Carter is a guy that you could hold out of this first scrimmage. Moving forward, I think especially next week, right? He should have a lot more reps playing on offense. I think that he will get some reps playing on offense, and I've said that. But also, I think that he might work himself, maybe not necessarily too much with the starters on defense, but I think that he'll start to work there some. If they do any like live stuff, if there is a scrimmage again next weekend, then yeah, I think that he's probably going to go in that one because it's time for him to start getting ready. Really wouldn't be shocked if he's the starter for maybe not in the first quarter. Maybe he misses a quarter. Maybe he misses like the first half of that Syracuse game. But if push comes to shove and if we look like, hey, man, Boo Carter's got to go out there. Boo Carter has got to go out there. We can't be playing around. Look, I'm all for, and I totally get it. Sometimes players have to have punishment and stuff. But at the end of the day, we need to win freaking ball games. So if Boo Carter gives us the best chance to win as the starter, then that's what needs to happen. And we'll figure everything else out. Like find some other punishments that doesn't punish this whole daggum team. But that's my thoughts there. So it just sounds like he didn't get to do too much on defense. Now, it also sounds like Caleb Herring had, he made some plays. He was out there flashing. I didn't hear much about the other like edge rushers, you know what I'm saying? This wasn't, again, I just think we maybe could have asked more questions. Hey, coach, do we have any sacks? Like what? Give me 5 players on offense and on defense that really flash to you. Give us some of that. But yeah, so I mean, Herring, obviously, he definitely showed up. That defensive line is super deep. You would think that more players did flash. Bryson Eason also flashed. I want to know about Jackson Moy, okay? I want to know about Arion Carter. I didn't see any notes on him. I want to know about Tennessee safeties. How did our stars look? And how did the rest of that strong side in-room look? What about, Marion Dow? What about all those younger players? How are they looking? Those are the types of things that I would love to be able to know, but we just didn't get those questions in. So the other notes that I have here is that David Sanders, I mean, he would probably be, if Coach Heupel was like the most hyped about Star Thomas, maybe the second most hyped about David Sanders. He said that he feels like he's going to play at a very high level, which is exactly what you want to hear. Okay, that is beautiful. Also, the starting offensive line from left to right was, of course, Lance Hurd, Moy, and then it was Sat. He got the start at center. Jesse Perry was the starter at right guard. And of course, David Sanders was the starter at right tackle. It also sounds like Sam Pendleton, he was rotating in at center, but more like with the twos. And he's kind of banged up. I mean, that's an interesting competition. I want to know where the snaps on point. I would love to hear things like that. That would be huge just because you got to get at least that part of it right first, right? Like get the freaking snap. And then, you need to know, like ID fronts and all that. Like, if you can just do those 2 things, I feel fine about, everything else. So did we at least do that, Coach? Do we have 2 centers or at least one that we feel like can get it done for us? I don't know. It just was not enough notes from that standpoint. But I would still, if I was to put some money on this, I would say probably going to be Sam Pendleton as our starting center. Also, as we touched on with some other players, if Pendleton gets to start at center, William Satterwhite is probably gone. Okay, if GMAC gets to start, or if he's maybe even second string or any of that, playing a quarterback, Mark is gone. And shoot, Mark might be gone if he's not starting, period. So I had to watch out for that. Now, let's see, what else? Okay, so Edwin Spillman, he also flashed. And that's really all. That is pretty much it. I mean, there was nothing. This wasn't too many notes, right? It wasn't a whole lot of notes. That's really all that I got. And but I will give y'all more of my thoughts. Let me go ahead and get to some of these chats. And I know that I'm way back on this, but I'm going to try to catch up. So this one is from my dog. He's saying, I'm just a little worried about the long-term health of such a thin wide receiver room. I am too. I think that's the biggest question mark is what happens if it is a situation like what we have right now, where two of our potential starters, they're out, and then one of our other starters is kind of banged up. We're going to have to lean a lot on some new players, on some fresh faces. But that's why early on in camp, these guys getting those reps, that's going to be beneficial for us. And from my dog, J-Pat saying the defense always wins. Offense is new this year. Yep, and different wrinkles. That's a fact. Top three. Yeah. Okay. So if we're talking about defense, yeah, I know that was way early on. Sorry that I'm so late on these. And this one is from MG Way saying that Heupel's not going to give too much. Okay. That's a fact. Yep. That's a fact. Sheila is saying that she feels like the offense looked good last year. At this point, we all know how that turned out. If not for Sampson, could have been really bad. Yeah. You know what? And I think that's a really good point. I think that the offense probably looked about the same at this point last year. I mean, the offense always starts off slow. Always, always, always. That's very normal. That's very, very typical. If the offense starts off too fast, it either means that, man, this offense is just like, you've got so many vets coming back, so on and so forth, and or the defense is not going to be very good. That's, so I would say that we've passed like the first test, that the defense starts off fast. That's the way that things should look. But also Tennessee's running game, period, not even just with Sam, who I absolutely love. I think that he had a great year. But if you look at his carries, something that we've done on this channel, look at how many carries that he had versus some of our previous running backs. That's why his numbers look so good. It's just built into the system that whoever's running the football, for the most part, they're going to put up numbers. So the running game's always there. Defense will be there. Can the quarterbacks just manage games? That's why I'm going to go back to Joey Aguilar. Him throwing those pick sixes, that is a huge freaking problem. Yes, it is early on, but that is a problem. That is a big problem. He's going to have to get that cleaned up exponentially. I don't want to hear about not one more pick six in any live situation from him. This is just me talking personally. If I'm the coach, one more pick six and hey, we're in the stadium. This is a big time moment. Okay, I'm moving on. I'm moving on to someone else, because if there's anything that would at this point, how things are looking, that could get Tennessee beat and put us in a terrible situation, it's throwing freaking pick sixes. Don't do that again. Do not do that again. This is just me speaking, okay? All right, so she was also saying that she's sure that one of those QBs can give us a few good throws per game. Yeah, for sure. And last year, Nico gave us one or two decent throws per game, nothing to brag on. Yeah, so that's something else. I know that there's some people that still kind of like hate on Nico, really don't even want to too much talk about him, but I would have to disagree. I think that Nico wasn't perfect, but man, people give him way too much hell. He made some hell of a throw. Like, he made some great throws. He made some incredible throws for us last year. He got us out of some really bad situations too. So I'm not going to be super hard on Nico. We don't have Nico here. I don't think we have a Nico sort of a talented quarterback outside of GMAC. It's going to be totally different. These guys just need to take care of the daggone football. Like you said, Sheila, make a couple of big throws in some critical situations, not throwing pick sixes, okay? If we can do that, and man, look at Mike Matthews. Boy, he looks sharp. If we can do that, then I think that we will be fine. She said all along that GMAC is the best. Yeah, I think that that's a really, really good point. Saying that not a good look. Yep. And from Gene saying that, I love seeing these guys give their all. I do too. I think that that's one of the key things that says that, man, this team has maybe a higher floor, right? Because everyone's bought. It feels like everyone is bought in. It feels like we're playing with maximum effort. We haven't lost the locker room. That's a huge part of things. We can get everything else figured out. Can we scheme it up and maybe help out with our passing game? How much better does that look? And from my dog, Scott V, is asking, is there any way that McIntyre can physically be ready at this point? Sounds like he has been the top performer at quarterback so far. I think so. You know what I mean? I think that the offensive line is going to be better. Yeah, I mean, you're going to worry about some things with him. It's really more just about him being so tall and so long, makes him look even leaner. How strong is he though? Right? Like, is he a strong guy? Because we've seen some of these other quarterbacks that are tall and long. They're a lot stronger than they look. Is he strong enough to be able to hold up? I mean, maybe. You know, if it was me, I wouldn't be too concerned about it. I would actually. This is what I would do. I was thinking about this earlier, but I was like, man, shoot, Tennessee probably has we probably have the funds that we could just dedicate to have somebody follow GMAC around for, I'm gonna call it maybe 6 hours out of the day and say, hey, look, we're gonna make sure that you're eating all of this food, okay? We're gonna make sure that you're hitting all of your metrics as far as working out and drinking your water. I would do that because I think that it's that big of a deal, or it could be for this team. You know, I mean, shoot, get him ready. There's no reason that he can't gain 5 to 10 pounds in the next couple of weeks in some good, clean, healthy weight. Quarterbacks don't do a whole lot of running, y'all. I mean, he shouldn't be losing too much water weight like these other guys. These guys are going to be losing a whole bunch of weight. Quarterbacks are pretty much stagnant. They're going to do a little bit of jogging around and stuff, but it ain't like a full speed sweating, doing a whole bunch of, you know, getting worked up. So yeah, he could gain the weight. But yeah, I mean, would you throw him out there when he's probably about like a $190-ish at about 6'6" plus? I don't know. I just do not know. So Sheila's saying that GMAC said that he's put on 16 pounds so far. Okay, which is excellent. Hopefully he can put on. Yep, that's exactly what we were just saying. Excellent point. Excellent point. And what was Chris Brazel's surgery? I'm not sure. So that's a question that I haven't even asked. I'm not quite sure what his surgery was. But if he's going to be, if he's working back, which he has been, it feels like for like at least last week, he started that process. I mean, he should be fine. But yeah, I'll see if I can figure that out. And, you know, maybe we can talk about it on Patreon. So for my dog, Teen Jr., what's going on, bro? Saying that GMAC has the highest ceiling, but he's not physically ready for the SEC yet. Yeah, I think that you could be right there, saying that he's working hard, and I think that he'll be in the mix for starting next season. Yeah, so I understand what you're saying there. He is light, but at the same time, he's not even necessarily light. He's just kind of like really long, right? Really long, really thin. But I think that it's just based off of what Coach Heupel's mindset is for this season. If he really wants this team, okay, if this is a true quarterback competition, then if GMAC looks like he's the guy, even if he is kind of, you know, thin, I think that he'll be fine. You know, I don't think that it's that big of a deal. You know, I don't think he's going to go out there and just get like, you know, broken half. It just means that he probably won't be able to run as much. And whenever he does run, he's got to be very, very careful. But as far as throwing the football, managing this offense, I don't think that we would need his legs too much if he's going to look as good as what it sounds like he has up to this point. That's just what I think. But also something else. You have to watch out, and I don't know if I said this earlier, but you also have to watch out. You also have to watch out for GMAC leaving if maybe he feels like, man, I was the best guy throughout all of fall camp, and they didn't let me get the start. He might feel some type of way. He might want to hit that portal after this year too. So it's a tough situation. I don't know how Coach Heupel's going to handle it, but I have faith that he's going to, you know, do what's best for this team overall. And from David Speaks, what's going on, bro? Saying that if GMAC plays on the same level as Aguilar or Merck, I'd play all three. Versus ETSU, but start the best one of the second scrimmage. Yeah, I could see a situation. I don't know if Coach Heupel likes the thing where you're sharing time with quarterbacks, but I'm not, you know, maybe versus ETSU, it could be a good look. But at the same time, it could kind of backfire. It's such a delicate situation dealing with these quarterbacks, especially with these kids these days. Their mind it's different. You know, it definitely is different. So it's such a fine line that Coach Heupel's going to have to walk. And David is saying that let's get an NIL deal from Pals for GMAC so he can gain 25 pounds. Yeah, man. For sure. JPAT saying that some of the questions that the legacy media asking Heupel have me shaking my head. One fool asked him after the season was over if he liked his players, his people. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where they come up with these questions. And again, I'm not taking a shot at him. I'm sure that it's a lot more difficult to navigate that. I know that our media really we don't ask tough questions to our coaches. And I'm not saying that we should. I actually think that that's a good thing. But maybe we could ask something that's pertinent to the situation. Right? Something about the actual team. I think that would be very, very beneficial. Yeah, for sure. And Teen Jr. saying is that no doubt that, yeah, that's a fact. And all right, so from Volfan J saying, what about the starting running back? So I'm not sure who the starting running back is going to be. And it also sounds like Bishop had a pretty strong day. I don't know. I didn't hear anything about Peyton Lewis. he wasn't on the list of players that didn't go. So you would think that, he did go. I mean, I would think that for me, I would say that he should probably be the the best guy because of his size and his speed. I mean, he looks like $1,000,000, but Bishop he's right up there too. It's great that Star Thomas has stepped it up. I don't know who the starting running back is going to be. One of the two, probably with Bishop, I think, and maybe Peyton Lewis, but who knows? I mean, with the way that Coach Heupel was speaking on, with how he's speaking about Star, he might work himself into that mix as well. So from MG Way, thank you so much. Saying the 20 days till kickoff. Let's get this QB battle figured out. You already know, so let me go ahead and play the super chat for you. Thank you, bro. All right, so let me get back to the chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. From Deborah P. What's going on, Deborah? Long time. Saying that how long is a typical scrimmage? I don't know. I mean, probably about maybe like 2 hours. So just like as far as the actual scrimmaging part of it, I think that you want to try to keep that as close to 60 minutes as possible. But they're doing different situations, and I'm sure that they'll probably maybe take like a little bit of a break. You're going to have like your special team sessions and all of that. I don't know how Tennessee scrimmages are actually kind of like run, but different coaches run it differently. But I would say somewhere between probably like an hour to really maybe like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours tops. You don't want to be out there too long whenever you're scrimmaging, but you want to give everybody a good solid look at the same time. And Sheila's saying that I think that Bishop, okay, yeah, man, for sure. In the ground to make players miss, tackle. Yeah, I think that he's really good at that. I do. I think that he has really good vision too. David is saying that he thinks that the second scrimmage will tell us the most of this camp. Yep, and I play the best two in the Syracuse and play all three in ETSU for who's the backup. Yeah, so I think so. I mean, really, as we get further into this thing, I feel like after the second scrimmage, really, I think that after they watch film, once the coaches go in, watch the film, which they'll be doing probably like for this whole weekend, but they'll have a good idea, probably like late tonight, what the rest of the team might look like the offensive line. They'll probably have a pretty good understanding of who they want out there. I'm not saying it's going to be set in stone, but it should be pretty solid. Defensive, who's going to be the first string, second string, so on and so forth. I think that they'll understand it pretty well. But then, David, to your point, that second scrimmage, I think that that's when they know for sure for almost every spot on this team outside of quarterback. I think that they'll have a better understanding, but I think that hopefully someone takes that step forward and we can just finish it. Like, we don't have to keep on going through it. But it could be a situation where they take it all the way up to, I don't know how many times they're going to scrimmage, probably 3 times, maybe 4 times. And in that fourth scrimmage, I don't know how much are the, starters really going to be going. But yeah, it's probably going to be a work in progress just because and we've talked about this several times, but if GMAC was a bigger player, I think that the competition would be over after that second scrimmage. And so from Volfan, okay. So this right here from SCE 384. Okay, so considering that he's been here for 2 months, I think that you have to give Aguilar some grace. Yeah, and you know what? I think that that's a really good point. Like, you do have to give him time, but at the same time, we really don't have the time. Like, the season starts up in less than a month. So, how much grace can you really give a guy, right? Like, we've got to roll out whoever looks the best by that opening week. And if it's not Joey, I'm not saying that it won't be, but if it's not, then, I don't think that that's going to help us out by just throwing him out there and saying, well, we're just going to give him some more time. And I'm not saying that that's what you're saying, but I just want to make sure that people understand that from my point of view, once we get to game time, it's all about who's the best players. And I don't give a damn if it's a walk-on playing at quarterback. I don't care. Like, I like, whoever gives us the best opportunity to win, that's who needs to play. And then if Joey Aguilar looks better deeper into the season, then maybe you give him a shot. Say, okay, we're going to try to work you in here. But yeah, he's going to have to get things figured out quick. That's what made this such a difficult situation, is that he had limited time to get all this stuff right. And I still think that he will get it right. We'll see. It should be a huge amount of growth from the first scrimmage to that second scrimmage. All right. Yeah, so these running backs versus last year, I think that it's going to be on par. We got 2 of our guys, right? So Bishop is back, Peyton Lewis is back. We don't have Dylan Sampson, but at the same time, I didn't come into last year thinking that Dylan Sampson was going to put up the numbers that he did. Not that I thought he was a bad player. I knew he was really good, and I knew that he worked well in Tennessee's system. I just didn't think he was going to get as many carries. So for me, it's just more about how much are we going to rotate? How much are we going to be splitting time with these guys? Can we keep them fresh? Because Sant was beat up in the final game, right? In the final 2 games, because we ran them into the dirt. So will Coach Sims rotate 3 to 4, maybe even 5 guys this year? I think that we've got more depth that we can do that. So overall, it should be a net positive, I think, for Tennessee's running back room. And for Matt, it's saying that the new but good offensive line offensive line quarterback question mark is getting me nervous. Okay, so mix that with our starters, wide receivers not playing with them. Yeah. I think so too. It's a tough situation for these guys. But at the same time, like what we have to understand is that the wide receivers that these guys are throwing to is, I mean, at some point they're going to have to throw to them anyway. It's not just going to be Tennessee's starting 3. At some point, the young guys have to get in over the course of a long year. So they're going to have to just get things right. They're going to have to take a step forward. And I am a little bit disappointed. Like, I'm not shocked. I'm not like, oh my gosh, the sky's falling. Tennessee's going to suck. Not at all. I would just like to have heard, oh man, you know what? Joey threw a pick. But he looked pretty solid. He was throwing some touchdowns too. He's out there working, slinging. Operation looked pretty good. Wasn't perfect, but you could see some glimpses of what this could be. Not too far off. Same thing for like Merck. I would want for them to sound. I think that it's kind of a bad thing that GMAC looks the best at this point because they've had the same amount of time. I mean, him and Merck have had the same amount of time. He's a younger player. Really, Merck has had more time than GMAC. If you go back to last season, why is he looking the absolute best? Yeah, he's working with the 3 some, but I mean, he's pretty much got the same weapons outside of the offensive line. And I don't think that it's a huge drop off whenever you're looking at who he's throwing the football versus, right? Like on that defense. If Joey Aguilar threw an interception versus Colin Brazel, again, I'm not taking a shot, but he's probably going to be, I mean, I would say he's probably like our maybe 6th or 7th corner, maybe, something like that. That's pretty much 3rd string, right? So, I mean, it's kind of like the same situation to me. So, from JPAC saying that we damn sure don't need pick 6 from walk-on corners. Yeah, if Colton Hood did it, yeah, that's a little bit of a different story. I think that it is a bit of a different story. And so this one right here is saying that Sheila thinks that GMAC is built like Jaden Daniels when he played for LSU. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think kind of similar. I mean, GMAC is definitely a lot thinner. Their weight might be the same, but he's probably 3 inches or so taller than Jaden was. So Jaden's lower body to me looked thicker. That's more of what I'm looking at with GMAC is his lower body. That's where, because you could have some kind of like thin arms. I'm not too worried about that. How do those legs look? And once he can gain more weight there, then I would feel like if he could gain maybe 10 pounds just in his lower body, I'd feel fine. I'd feel perfectly fine throwing him out there, just personally. And so there it is. Yes, man. Hey, dog, we on the same page. Yeah, for sure. What's going on, y'all? Yeah, cool. All right, so we've got some more. I'm gonna try to get to everybody. And so this one is saying that they're more concerned about so many starting wide receivers being banged up. Yeah. Yep. That's something that we touched on. I think that's a good point, and that they can hire me in our personal chef. I would too, man. For real. I would love to be able to do that. I actually like cooking, so that's something I would have fun doing that. G-Man, yeah, I think that's a perfect comp. I think he looks a lot like Tyler Bray. That's a perfect comp. That's exactly to me who he looks like. I was watching some Tyler Bray clips not too long ago too, like last week, and boy, could he sling the football or what? He had a cannon. Beautiful arm. Saying that my son is 5'4". Okay. Built like GMAC. Yep. That's the hooker's leg. Oh man. If the quarterback and wide receiver room feel like a hurry up and wait situation. Oh yeah. So saying that in the quarterback wide receiver room, yeah, it does kind of feel that way in some instances. Kind of does. Feels like, man, I don't know how true this is, but maybe there's a part of the stat that might feel like let's get these young guys out there and see how we can look for 2026. And if that is the case, then you might as well just play Merck or play GMAC. There's no point to even play Joey Aguilar because he ain't gonna be back. I mean, maybe that's what I don't know. I'm just purely speculating. All right, so saying that, that we don't know the circumstances of this interception, could have been a tip ball. Okay, yeah, so that is true. I just think that if it was a tip ball, that we probably would have got that information. Somebody probably would have said that, and it would be really tough. Like, see, like these are outs. Those are quick outs. Those are not. And I don't know, was it one of these quick outs or was it more like a deep out? If it's a quick out, I think that's that's probably even worse. And I'm gonna come right back to that. But since there was throwing those outs, I wanted to let people see it. But yeah, I mean, throwing outs, that's just not a. I mean, you've got to have better ball placement. You can't stare the wide receiver. I mean, there's just a lot of those. That's typically on the quarterback. I would say about 99% of the time, if you throw a pick on an out, which I'm speculating that it wasn't out, it could have been something else, could have been a hitch, but that's typically on the quarterback. It could have been tipped, but kind of rare whenever you're throwing it more to the outside that would happen, especially with Tennessee system. On those outs, the quarterbacks are typically, especially if it's one of the deep outs, are typically rolling outside of the pocket. Not to say that it can't get tipped there, but it's just really low likelihood that is what the case is. So this one is saying that Bull, in a ratio POV, do you think, and I'm not quite even sure what you mean by that, but do I think that the guy sitting out is more of a not taking any chances thing? Yeah, I do. I think that it's more of they're banged up some. It's not super serious. It's maybe they could work through it, play through it. Maybe more about like pain tolerance. And yes, I think that that's a really good point, that they're probably just trying to let these guys heal up for the start of the year so that it's not ongoing and nagging injuries. That's just from kind of like what I've heard. All right, 3 weeks and it's game time. Yep, for sure. Which quarterback? All right, so this was said from Oreo Puppy Dogs. What's going on, bro? Saying I love GMAC. Hope someone doesn't offer him a bag to leave. Oh, I mean, but you already know that's coming. That's coming. He's gonna get offered a bag. I can guarantee you that. That always happens. For Bluechip Breakdown to get media pass. Yeah, man. Hey, we would love it. We would absolutely love that. And we'd have, man, look, you want to talk about, I don't know how many questions everybody gets to ask. We'd have, I mean, we could go for like an hour straight asking questions. We got a lot of stuff that we want to know. Faison looks good coming too. Yeah. Yep. Love it. Yeah, Faison looks great though. This one right here is from Arthur Dorsey, saying, I feel like we're gonna, okay. Yo, yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, I mean, I think 100%. Yeah, like we're gonna have to. I think we're gonna be very, very run heavy, just like we were last year. We're typically run heavy, but yeah, I think early on a lot of 12 personnel. Maybe over the course of the season, a lot of 12 personnel. But you're hoping that the wide receivers, more guys will step up and that we can utilize them, because I think that if you want to be a playoff team, which is always my goal, P's goal on this channel, and I know I'm not saying that everyone's goal has to be like this, but ours is about winning a national championship. That's the bar. What is it going to take for us to be able to win a national title? For us to get to that point, we have to have wide receivers that can really take that top off to keep the defenses honest. If it's mostly like 12 personnel, then we're going to have two like true freaking studs at wide receiver on the outside for that to work. Not saying that we don't have it, but it just makes it more complicated. All right, especially because Tennessee wants to run the football. I think that would, in some ways, maybe hurt Tennessee's running game, because we have great numbers because we spread the field out so much and we face lighter boxes. If you're running 12, you're going to get heavier sets on defense. You're going to get more linebackers out there, okay? So going to be tougher to actually run on that. So this one's saying that, yeah, oh, man, I am too. Cannot wait. This one is saying that if GMAC had 20 pounds on him, he most definitely would get a shot. Yeah. I think so. I do. I'll just be honest. Again, not taking a shot. I just think that, man, his ceiling, especially moving forward, is really high. He looks really good. I think he's got a lot of talent. It's a joke though, isn't it, that he bumps down to a 4-star? Absolute joke. No excuse for it. All right. Yeah. Yep. Love it. Yep. Oh, okay. Oh, so y'all are asking who has his legs just like as far as running? I don't think that anyone has Hendon Hooker's legs as far as running does. Not right now. Hendon Hooker, he had really good straight line speed. Wasn't like a make you miss guy, but I mean, we saw that last night. And let me also just tell y'all this real quick. If y'all didn't know, my Falcons are about that. We are a problem. That defense is serious. James Pierce, he got pressure on almost every single play, close to finishing with those sacks. That's where he's got to take that next step forward. But, man, the only thing that we were really missing last year, I think, is just the pass rush. We got that now. And, I mean, shoot, we're pushing the lines around. Most teams can't do that. And I know it's a preseason game, but, man, watch out for my Falcons. But, yeah, I mean, Hendon Hooker's straight line speed, I think is going to be better than any of these guys. If anyone's close though, it would be GMAC. I think that he's pretty close to it. All right, so let me pull this one back up. So saying definitely not Dobbs. Joey can run some, but he ain't yet. Now I don't think he's anywhere near that. I would say that Joey Aguilar probably would be the least of a running threat. I would take Merck's legs probably over Joey's, honestly speaking. But okay. Okay. Are you talking about Dotson? Yeah, man. Dotson looks like a freaking beast. While like Bray, yeah, yeah, man. Bray was I mean, I was saying more that I think that G-Mac's body looks like Bray's, but I also think that he throws the football like him too. I actually think he might be a better overall passer from like all different levels. I think that he's a better passer, honestly speaking. That's his arm might not be as big, but I think that it is really big. I mean, he's just got a crazy high ceiling. All right, so saying that Hurd Spillman got the start for Power T. Okay, I think that you mean Power T. And any word on how he did? And he thinks that he leads the true linebackers in sacks, tackles for loss. Yeah, I could see that. So yeah, I just heard that he had a really nice day. I mean, they didn't really get into too much breaking things down as far as what did he do? Did he have any sacks? Was he making tackles for loss? How did he look in coverage? Like that's the type of stuff that I would love to know. But yeah, he very well could lead us in sacks and tackles for loss and several different things. I am a little bit worried that we didn't hear anything about Arion Carter. Now he wasn't on the list of players that didn't practice or practice. You would think that he would have had a hell of a day, right? I mean, maybe they just didn't want to talk about it, but yeah, so he looks really good to me physically. What about Jordan Burns? Didn't hear about him. Some of those freshmen playing at linebacker, both of the Jadens, didn't hear about them. So maybe some more information will come out here later on. But yeah, I mean, I would think that the linebacker room should be really freaking deep. So this one is from Volfan J saying that we must have a quarterback that can run like those two, or we're going to be in trouble. We have been since they left. Yeah, if you're talking about, I'm not sure, are you talking about Nico and Hendon? Because I would say that as far as the running threats at quarterback, those are the best two that Coach Heupel has had. Because Milton, he didn't run or you know what, maybe you're talking about Dobbs. I don't know that it's 100% necessary though, honestly speaking. Not now, because we're going to be doing more like real route tree stuff where we can utilize the field better with our routes. But from the past couple of seasons, like Tennessee really needed a quarterback that had a really strong arm and was a threat to run the football so that the offense would work, because teams were starting to figure us out, as we all know now. But now with different wrinkles, I think that we could have a quarterback that's more of like a pocket passer. You got to be able to run some these days. Can you scamper for like a 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6? I mean, I think that if the defense plays really deep coverage, then maybe Joey could. I think he's kind of slow, y'all, honestly speaking. And, I don't think that he's got much wiggle. I don't know how much he's going to be able to like run through people on this level either. I mean, this is we'll see. I just think that G-Mag, he could do more with his legs. I think probably up to this point, it feels like he could maybe do more with his arms too. It's just all about could he hold up physically. But yeah, if the quarterbacks can at least manage this freaking offense and throw accurate passes, which on some passes that should be pretty freaking easy, like slants and drags. I mean, dude. I mean, anybody can throw those, you know what I mean? Like, those are not difficult passes. So guys need to be consistent with that. And I think that if we can just do that, hit the deep passes every now and then, Tennessee's offense is going to be perfectly fine and not throw stupid picks. This one is saying that that they don't know why we won't start a freshman quarterback. I think that for more of like the purpose of the future of this team is why you wouldn't do it, because you're going to lose Mark, and then you could also lose Faison, and then you'd be left with just GMAC. You got to go out to the portal, and you got to add another quarterback. That's going to cost a lot of money. So I think that might be the biggest reason why. Okay, yeah. Oh, okay. So I knew what that part of it meant. I just didn't quite understand the rest of it. But that's on me, man. I'm doing a whole bunch of ones and twos, so sorry about that. Thank you for breaking it down to me too. Saying that was Brazil's surgery a scope or a reconstructive? I do not know. I'm not sure on that. Maybe somebody in the chat, they might know. I'll see if I can do some research and figure out exactly what's going on. What Brazil's. It sounded like it was very minor, so just not quite sure. Okay, so yeah. Yep. And he had opportunities. Yeah, and you know what? And that's interesting. I kind of felt like that too. I kind of felt like he was letting up, because once the other quarterback came in, I felt like James Pierce took another step. He was like, man, he was really getting after it. So I think that's a really interesting point. All right, so this one is a fill in the blank, saying that this is the worst I have felt about Tennessee's quarterback situation in fall camp since. Oh, I mean, I don't feel horrible about this quarterback situation. Honestly, and hopefully it doesn't sound that way. I'm not trying to make it seem like I feel terrible, because I don't feel that bad. Um, I feel about, I don't know. I mean, it feels about maybe since 2021 or 2022, when we had some guys that, man, you said, you know what, they've got some talent early on in fall camp. Maybe some of the players didn't look the absolute best. I want to say that Hendon Hooker in the like fall camp and maybe in spring heading into 2022, he might not have looked absolutely great or something. It was one of those years. It was Milton who actually looked better in practices, but it just turns out that Hendon, he plays better in the game situation. So yeah, I mean, I'm not super down. I would say that I'm about where I was at in those seasons. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we've got guys that are talented, just hasn't looked the absolute best up to this point. All right. And so this one right here is saying that I don't care who the quarterback is. If he has Hookers or Dobbs legs, that's a must for fast football. Yeah, I think that always would help, though. I mean, that's a fact. That would always help. So this one says since 2019. Wow. Garantano years my answer. Man, dang. So yeah, I'm not that low. I don't think that they're going to do horrible. I'm just my biggest concern is with the interceptions and with the lack of being able to hit some pretty easy, what should be some pretty easy passes. I mean, that these guys should be doing better with some of these passes. It shouldn't be horrible. Kind of feels like for Joey and for Merck, it was like, I'm not going to say it was horrible, but it was pretty close to it from what I've heard. Doesn't sound like it was great. But first day, things will get much better. All right, so this is saying that Joey can make big plays when Nico transferred to the Bruins. Okay. This one is saying that which of the tight ends could be to help out the wide receivers or the quarterback play. I think all of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that you can always lean on tight ends. I think we've got a deep room full of guys that can help us out there. But it's gonna turn into a situation where I always try to draw the correlation of how Michigan's offense looked last year. Y'all saw how tough it was for them to pass the football. It's because they had no, number one, they had a terrible quarterback. Number two, they had no real like outside threats. And they were always throwing to their tight ends. Or like, look at Iowa. Like, you don't want to have that sort of an offense. That's not what Tennessee's offense is. You use your tight ends as like a change of pace or as like a check down option, as a gadget option. But if that's the bulk of Tennessee's offense, if that's the bulk of our passing offense, we're gonna have a pretty big problem, y'all. We're gonna have a pretty big problem. I can tell you that right now. This one's saying that a quarterback like Hooker or Dobbs legs, we will go far. Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like, legs always help. Having a quarterback that is a threat to run the football is always good. That's always dangerous. And so this one is saying that my core memories of UT ball is the late two. Oh my gosh, that's not good. See, mine is the 90s. So we probably have a totally different outlook on Tennessee football. Mine is way different, but saying that this is by far not the worst I felt about our team. Yeah, I understand that. I understand that for sure. All right, this D will be better than last season. I think that that's a good point. I think that the defense could definitely end up being better. All right, so Adam's saying Merck Slinger. All right, like that. Yep, okay. Saying that they were very sneaky with their legs and speed. Yeah, that's more of what it is. You have to know when to run, right? Like, if you just know when to run, if it's just about that threat of running. I don't think that Tennessee's quarterbacks will probably, especially as we get further into the season, it might not be much of a threat for them to use their legs. So that's when the opportunities open up. It's more of, hey, are you willing to run and get some of these tough 3, 4, 5 yards? If they can do that, then that's really all that we need. That, and then just take care of the football. That's all. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think so too, man. He's super tall, really, really tall. Saying I wanted to be the first Puerto Rican quarterback at UT, but I sucked at ball, so I'm hoping Joey fulfills the prophecy. Yeah, man, that would be dope for sure. That would definitely be dope. Have we heard anything about Sanders Jr.? Yeah, so we talked about that earlier, that he looks really good. It sounds like Coach Heupel's really high on him. He thinks he's going to have a really big season. I could tell that. Like, sometimes you can, and y'all could probably tell too, if you listen to Coach Heupel, you could tell he really likes David Sanders, and he's not even worrying about that. Dog, yep, all right. We can do slow in a way. Yeah, you know what? I think that Tennessee's tempo is going to take a step back too. I think that you want to try to, until the quarterbacks get comfortable, you want to try to slow some things down. Let your defense stay fresh. Let them stay rested and run the football. Lean on that, kind of like we did. We did it some last year, but I think it'll be another step forward early on, especially early on, because versus Georgia, we'll have to open some things up more. All right, so this one is saying that if Joey starts, that Heupel would not be scared to run his ass. I think so too, because he is thicker. Saying that even if he's not super fast or twitchy, he can get yards and throw off the defense. Yeah, I just think it's got to be, and I think that's a good point. I think it has to be in the correct situations. You also have to understand that whenever you're watching him run, playing in the Sun Belt, the biggest difference between the SEC and any other conference in college football is with the speed. Is with the size up front and also with the speed. Okay, that is a huge difference going from the Sun Belt to this conference. It's big dudes that can fly and that will try to hurt you. I can guarantee it, and I'm not claiming this, but I'm just telling you from what I know. UGA, they try to hurt people. That is their MO. Think about their history, playoff football. How many wide receivers have they put out? How many players have they intentionally tried to hurt? Late hits, so on and so forth. Dirty hits. It is a different ballgame. You got to be a real true dog. I think that he's a dog. But he's going to have to be smart. He's going to have to, and we also don't want him running and then maybe getting hurt, you know? I'm not saying that would happen, but he's got to be very, very careful because he's not going to be able to outrun folks. That ain't happening. I don't think he's going to be able to outrun probably the linemen, honestly speaking. You know, I think he's about on their level of speed, especially with those edge guys. Those guys can freaking run, okay? Those guys can move. All right, thank you for that. Yes, always, and actually let me pull this thing up. I don't know if y'all can even see that. Let me get this out the way so that y'all can see it. There we go. Yeah, make sure to like and subscribe, and thank you for that. All right, so we're going to get to some more of these, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Saying that we better have some great legs in speed and some of the quarterback. Yeah, I think that we find. I don't think that we need it. I think that it helps. It's more about can we throw the football well, and then if we can do that, it'll push that defense back, and then that's when we can be sneaky with our legs. Saying that you have to put your best quarterback in, yeah, for sure. That the others will be backups. Doesn't make sense to put in an inferior player even if he needs more weight. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. My only pushback to that is just this: if you're looking long term, if you think that his weight might get him hurt and that he might have to miss time anyway, well, now what you've done is you've alienated the other quarterbacks. Maybe their mental isn't right. Playing at quarterback, kicker, punter. Those spots, your mind has got to be right. It's a lot of mental stuff. I think that the talent's there with all these guys, but it's a lot in how confident are you, man? Boy, G-Mac looks good there, doesn't he? And that was kind of a high pass. Really, that actually should have been caught. But man, I mean, he's looking pretty good. But so my whole point here is just to say that I could see both sides of that. I would love to be able to play the players that we think are the absolute best, but you got to be able to manage all this stuff, and that's why Coach Heupel gets paid all that money. And so this one from Adam is asking, do I think that Joey could at least be able to run better than Worley or Garantano? If we could just find a Heath Schuler type of quarterback, I think that he would have been awesome. And then, oh my gosh, Heath Schuler would have lit this system up. Yeah, I think he would have been really, really good. Yeah, no, I don't think that. I mean, maybe like Worley, maybe. It's hard for me to even think back because see, like that period of Tennessee football, it was like trauma for me. So I push like my mind is blocked so much of that stuff out. It's hard for me to think, but probably more like Worley, maybe JG, something like that. But he's not. I don't think that his legs is a real viable option. I think that in certain situations he can scamper, but that's not. I mean, I'll be interested to see how much the teams even honor us on some of like the read option stuff. Do they even honor it if it's Joey? He's gonna have to pull some and show that he can run. I think that his legs is probably a little bit overrated. As of right now with this fan base, I don't think that's going to be. I don't think that's going to be one of his bigger weapons. Yeah, that would be huge. Okay. Saying that Aguilar will be fine. Okay. Saying that we will run the ball well, and that will help him a lot. Receivers are my main concern. Yeah, see, I'm opposite on that. I'm not too much worried about Tennessee's wide receivers as far as just the talent. I think that, yeah, them being banged up, that could be a problem because we could maybe start to get into more of like the walk-on players. And I haven't seen them play too much to know how good they are. But with the talent, I think that these guys will go make plays. I think that they'll go get 50-50 footballs. And it's not that I'm really necessarily like super worried about Joey or maybe Merck, but will they just take care of the freaking football? That's all that they got to do. Just manage games, and Tennessee's going to be in a good spot. You know what? I'm gonna tell you, man. Peyton Manning, when he was in college, people don't give him enough credit. He was actually pretty fast. He actually had pretty good legs. He was a pretty solid athlete. All right, like go back and watch some of that stuff from him in the 90s. You know, he would do some of those like naked boots and stuff. Or every now and then he would scramble some. And even like young as an NFL player, he had pretty good legs. Wasn't like a super slow slouch, you know. Saying, what am I the most worried about? So right now, I would say I don't know what I'm the most worried about. Yeah, I mean, it would probably be the lack of depth with our wide receivers and also just really taking care of the football with our quarterback. I think that that's probably where I'm at because I would say that more than likely it's still probably going to end up being Joey. Can he break some of those bad habits? I would say that's probably the thing that I'm the most worried about with this whole team. Will Joey Aguilar be able to break some of the bad habits that he had coming in? I know that he's going to get better, but how much better does he get by kickoff? And will he just take care of the football? That's probably going to be my biggest concern. Number two would be just the depth with our wide receivers. Can we stay healthy there? And can we also get healthy there? Saying that I'm worried about the wide receiver. Okay, so you're also more worried about the wide receivers than the quarterback. Okay. All right. Hey, I mean, y'all could end up being right. Speaking of Dobbs, he had a shifty, quick scramble touchdown in the red. Yeah, man. So Dobbs is he's got a really great gig because he's more like the backup. So it's good for his body. He doesn't have to take a whole lot of unnecessary like hits, wear and tear. So that's a great job, man, to be that backup quarterback. People always boost him up, and he can come in and be like that, kind of like change of pace and make some plays. So yeah, I think that he's in a really, really good spot. And Hype and GMAC are gonna get some. Hype said GMAC is gonna get some first team reps. Did he say that? Okay. Yeah, so I definitely missed that. I thought that I heard him say that he's not gonna change anything with the reps. He said that the reps will probably be the same as what they have been, which I would disagree with doing that. I think that you got to give GMAC more reps. If this is a real quarterback competition, if he's looked the best for pretty much since this thing has started, then you have to you got to let him get some more of those reps. You know, have to do it. So saying as a witness to the light scrimmage, the quarterbacks missed a lot of open reads with their wideouts, so they have some work to do. Okay, so hey, so I'm glad that you came in here, man. Maybe you can give us some more insights. What else did you see? Who's flashing on defense? How did our linebackers look? What about the coverage? You know what I'm saying? What did the routes look like? Were they missing on the deeper ones, or was it more on the short ones, on the easy ones? And I'm gonna try to wait to see for you to come back too. Thank you for chiming in. Appreciate that. All right, so saying that to take off and Dodge players, yep. We are still going to play very fast. Yes, I don't know. I don't know how fast Tennessee is going to play. I think it's going to be about what it was last year, if not slower. That's just me. I'm only speculating. I think that it might be a little bit slower just because I think that would help the personnel that this team has, and it would help with some of the question marks and issues that I think that this team has. So, excuse me. Thank you, Scott. Thank you for joining in, brother. Appreciate that. Sadly, I haven't been able to do that since 2022. Yep. I'm dropping that too. Hey, man, I would love that. I'm a big steak fan. I would love that. Hopefully that can happen by kickoff, because I'm trying to see. It's going to be tough for us to actually get to that game, but we wanted to do like a little, maybe like tailgate or something. But my youngest nephew, he's going to be playing, so it's going to be really tough for us to leave from his game and then, make it out and all of that. So maybe we'll do something, maybe post game, downtown. So it would be dope if we could link up with everybody who is in town. All right. All right. Appreciate this, bro. Appreciate you. This one is saying that I watched every touchdown from 2022. Last night, Hooker to Hyatt. Yep. Fant Keaton was poetry. Yes, it was. Yes, I would love to see that come back, and I think that there is a chance that could maybe look kind of similar if we can just get we got to just get like the basic stuff down first. If we show that we can consistently hit the easy stuff, the deep stuff will be there. And I actually like how all of our quarterbacks look throwing these deeper passes. Yep, that's a fact there. Yep. Okay, so you know what? I was gonna try to wait to see if we could get some feedback on how practice actually looked. But if you could, though, brother, for the person that was there at the actual scrimmage or anybody else, y'all can join us on Patreon for free. Okay, you can join us there for free. It's a great way for y'all to just chime in. You can message me. You can message other members there, and you can also just join into like our group chats and things like that. If y'all got to go to the scrimmage and if y'all want to add some thoughts, please do so on our Patreon, patreon.com/Bluechip Breakdown. You can also get like free trials. So we have a 7-day free trial of our $1 membership and of our $5 membership. You might as well just get that $5 membership, and we'll be running that for maybe up until the end of this week, or and maybe up until the end of next week, something like that, and then we'll probably close that thing down. So that's a great opportunity for y'all to come and check us out. But with all those things being said, listen, thank y'all so much. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up. We'll probably be coming back tomorrow. I'm gonna see if maybe Pete can get on with me, and we might talk some more about this scrimmage and fall camp in general. But thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all. Please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And we'll be seeing y'all on the next one. And from my dog, Matt SS, thank you for that. And with that being said, we'll be talking to y'all a little bit later on.